Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here with Liz Trotter. This is Smart Business Moves.
Hi, y'all. Pop up some comments. You want to take bets on who's first one in? I'm going to say Denise.
Okay, I'm looking.
Who are you going with?
Leslie.
Oh, Leslie. Okay. All right, we'll see.
Okay. Got somebody.
Probably going to be Debbie.
They're modern cleaning. Okay.
Who is it? They have to comment. I'm talking about the first.
Yeah, it's got a comment. You won't know otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll see. Go!
Bridget.
Dang it. All right, Bridget, winner. Winner, Bridget. We should have got that because yesterday she was one of the people that was like, no, you're not going too slow. This is great.
Yeah.
So anything new with PPP? Did you apply? Did your bank accept applications today, Tom?
You know, I think that they were, and I'm sorry to say that I was so busy tied up in other things, I didn't even think about it.
It's funny. My bank told me yesterday, oh gosh, sorry, we were wrong. It's going to be another week or two. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Dang it.
I mean, we need to get on it, but I don't think they're going to be running out of money anytime soon.
Yeah. The way you described it the other day, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's good. That gave me a little bit of relief, but still, I don't want to. I would hate to have that idea. Hey, Denise, you just lost me the win. You're supposed to be the first one on today.
Well, there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow.
That's right. Tomorrow we'll bet again, see who's on.
You have the cats with you today?
I put them outside. Did you just hear the door scratching?
Oh, really? There.
I was cat. Like, yeah, no, not again today. They were making me insane, especially two of them. Lindy won't accept my first loan number on my application, so I'm a bit frustrated. Wonder why.
Loan number.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that means her PPP loan, right. Her first one. Is that what you mean?
I'm wondering what the loan number is, though. I mean, Lindia is like an institution, right? Kind of like, you know, Cabbage or one of those guys.
Like my PPP, I had a number. Bad attitude. That's right. It's like you're here, Robin. Dang them. They were making me crazy yesterday. Yeah, she's talking about her PPP number, Tom.
Oh.
Like you didn't have one? We did. We had a loan number.
You mean you use the same number the second time around?
They probably need it like what was your first, tell us about your first loan, you know, something like that. What was the number? Did you get one? Yes. What was the number? Yes. You know, so they can see.
You're going to be good at this. You'll jump right in.
I'm ready.
2 weeks from, you got to wait 2 weeks, but.
Darn it. I don't want to wait. Yeah.
You find another bank.
I'm actually kind of happy that I'm waiting because last time I got in really quickly and then the rules changed after I had spent half my money in not the best way. So. Yeah,
I think a number of us made decisions that we would have made differently. But now, you know, with the tax credits coming in, if you spend your money faster, I mean.
Yeah, actually, really good point. At the time, I was like, what? I don't want to be irritated by free money, but.
and then there was a time when we thought that we weren't even going to be able to deduct the expenses we paid with that. And that would have been a bad whammy. Because you weren't even making as much money off of the labor that you were, you know,
even more.
Pay.
All right, let's see. So Linda says the loan number for my second loan is 44. Wow, that was quick. My application came to me today from my banker. Most everything is filled out except for the money part. Nice. No, they're asking for the first loan number and it's saying it's invalid. When I called customer service, they couldn't help. So I'll wait and see if PayPal offers a second round. Yeah. Wonder why they're saying it's invalid. That's weird. Really weird.
So all of this is working through a bank this time. You know, there's no direct help from the SBA.
Yeah. Well, keep us informed, ladies. Let us know what's going on and keep us up to date.
Let's get to work.
All right. Yeah, it's taking us so long to get through this stuff. We're going to start faster.
So just as a reminder, we're talking about our profit generating KPIs. We got our green numbers that go up and our red numbers that go down, and you can't lose. If you make a green number go up, you're going to be making more profit. If you make a red number go down, you're going to be making more profit, guaranteed. It's just a matter of what degrees, and some numbers have a more profound impact on profit than others. And by the time we're done, we'll understand all of that. But we started with one of the most important ones, which is our loaded direct payroll to revenue, and we've been talking about ways to make the loaded direct payroll go down or the revenue go up. They both count, and these are all of the ways that that can happen. We've been drilling down in terms of action steps. So when we're looking, in our bank statement or looking at our P&L and the numbers aren't what we want them to be, we don't feel helpless. We don't just say, gee, I really hope this gets better, because we want to. It's okay to hope, but you got to do more than hope. You got to take action. You got to make it happen. And this is we're giving you the roadmap in terms of how to do that.
Yep. Yeah, I love that.
And we want to reduce our training expense. And we're really drilling on turnover as a way to do that.
And the reason for that, again, for those of you that are maybe coming in new, is the amount of money that you spend per trainee is a much smaller amount as a percentage than the number of cleaning professionals that you train or the technicians that you train. So we're focusing in on reducing the number of people that we have to spend money on instead of the amount of money that we have to spend on each person. For the same reason that we're focusing on the LDPR first off, because it's where we can make the biggest impact. So.
And if it's all relative, but in a lot of cases, we try to control our training expense by cutting corners and basically not investing enough in training. And if we invest more in training the right people at the end of the year, our overall training expense will be less because we didn't have to train nearly as many people.
Okay, so Denise has a question here, and before we answer it, we're gonna try and give her a couple of hints and see if she can come up with the answer herself. So where do you put training pay and trainer pay? And I think you mean, does it go into direct or does it go into indirect? I think that's what you're saying. Is it going to be a function of cost of goods sold? Is that the question that you're asking, Denise?
I think that's the question.
I think so too. All right, and so my question to you, going back at you, here's my hinting question. Assuming that that's what you want to know, then that is the question. Okay, so do you remember how we decide if something is direct? You put it in indirect. Okay, good. Why did you put it in indirect? So it sounds like you kind of are getting it, but maybe you just can't remember the reasoning why. So how do we decide? Who can tell me? First person up here that can tell me. How do we decide if it goes into direct? How do we make that determination? I wonder if we can come up with a fun way like we did with efficiency. Something that makes no sense to Tom.
I can't even remember it, but it helps somebody. So maybe
efficiency and windshield. That's how you remember it, Tom. So efficiency has to do with windshield time. So I wonder if we can come up with something that can help us remember. All right, nobody's got an answer here. So Tom, you want to refresh us? How do we remember if it's a direct?
Direct is variable, a variable cost. And what that means is if I clean one extra home, will that cost go up by some percentage of the revenue that I generate off that home. That costs go up if I clean one more home.
Okay, I think I have one. Oh, can't remember why. Yep, that's the thing. I think I might have a little trick that would help us. So it is direct if this cost is directly related to cleaning another house. So if it's directly related to cleaning one more house, does that play, Tom? Maybe not directly related, but it's directly going to change because we're cleaning one more house.
Right.
I guess that would be the way to say it.
And if you look at the costs, and it's almost easier to do if you look at the costs that do not change if you clean an extra house. Your utility.
Tom, for you that seems really easy, but for a lot of people that doesn't resonate because like let me give you an example. Training. The reason why this one is a little bit tricky for people is if I don't clean another house, or if I do clean another house, I have to train somebody because I can't take on even one more house if I don't train another person.
Yeah.
So that's why it's tricky for people.
And it is tricky. And I've been sitting here and letting this whole thought play out, and I'm gonna basically throw a wrench into some of this thinking because
get ready, y'all.
It's never as cut and dry and as easy as we want it to be. It wouldn't be accounting if that wasn't the case. This is a sample P&L, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that we've looked at this. I know that we've looked at this before. And if you look here, you've got all your income. Go over here to just bing, bing. At a high level, phooey. If you remember, you've got your income, which is the money your customers pay you. You've got your cost of goods sold, which is the labor, primarily the labor who clean those homes. You subtract cost of goods sold from your income, you get gross profit. And gross profit is really the thing that you use to first pay all your other expenses, and then what's left over is net profit. Okay.
Yeah.
So does your training cost go into this cost of goods sold, or does your training cost go into gross profits? The real answer is you can do it either way. And it's a bit tricky because when you're training, usually you're training somebody for multiple days, and some of the homes that are, some of the training activities that person's participating in over, the couple of weeks, presumably that you're training them, they're, working in homes and to some degree generating revenue. Is that a fair assumption to make?
Yep. Maybe not in the beginning, and maybe not your trainer pay.
Well, your trainer's going to be with them in the home, and you have training homes that your trainer and your trainee goes in with, and maybe they have an extra person, maybe they don't. At the end of it, though, they've cleaned a home and the customer's paying for it. It's not nearly as productive. Your revenue per labor hour, your payroll to revenue off of that one house is going to be higher. Your gross profit off of that one house is going to be lower, presumably because they're going to be slower. You're going to have more salary.
It's going to skew that number.
To answer the question, our practice and my recommended way of handling the training cost for both the trainer and the trainee is to put it in with direct labor. If out of the entire training process, how many ever days it is, assuming that the majority of it is spent in the field generating some level of revenue, it's easier after the fact too, because the trainee will then already be set up in your accounting system as direct labor. So when they become, a normal regular team member, a real, cleaning professional, then all of that's still there and that's in place. But we do break those costs out separately. it goes into training as opposed to, say, commission. In this example, this company pays, a revenue share, commission, fee split, some people call it.
Percentage, lots of different terminologies.
And if you see this, 39% in terms of a commission off of a house is not, that's decent. That's not normal, but I mean, that's pretty normal. But you start throwing things in here like some holiday pay or vacation and some overtime pay, and you throw the training, and you see how big the training is relative to those other things. That's bumping it up almost another 2 points. And this isn't bad, but I've seen some companies where if you break it out like this number could be 5%. And that's a lot of money that you're leaving off of the table, because that's 5% off of what appears to be almost $700,000. So that's like $35,000 that could have been profit, but you had to spend it on training. So the point is, if you have to train somebody, make the investment into training them well and try to, hold on to them, train the right person, and then, hold on to them so you're not training a bunch of people. You can afford to spend a lot on a few people to train. It's when you're training a bunch of people, it's where it starts getting really expensive.
Yep. All right. So looks like Bridget, hey Juan, looked like Bridget and Denise liked my my way of remembering it. If it's directly related to cleaning a house, then it's direct. And so usually anybody that goes out in the field is going to be direct, right? It's going to go onto the direct line. Some people do separate out the training because they think that it is not variable for whatever reason. But most people put it in direct. I know a couple people that don't, or people that train in their own offices, then they consider it indirect because they're not sending them out in the field, not cleaning houses. So you are going to have to kind of make up your mind. But I think keeping in mind what we had said about if it's directly related to cleaning a house, and if they're being trained, they're directly cleaning houses, I think that's going to be the easiest way. Now, Denise, for you, I'm going to tell you the same thing I'm going to tell Linda. You guys, same thing we say in group all the time is pick a way. Like if you're not sure, pick a way and be consistent. Because even having the numbers in maybe not the exact correct, whatever somebody tells you is the correct place, as long as you have it corrected, collected in a consistent manner, you can still figure out exactly where your money is going, and you can still figure out what your gross profit is, what your net profit is. And ideally, that's what we're looking for. So consistency really does matter. Pick a way and do it that way. And we would like it if you did direct.
Yeah, but picking a way and being consistent is really the trick to it, because field supervisors is another area that, and I'm getting off of the whole training thing here just a little bit, but if you got a supervisor, are they direct or are they indirect? Well, you could argue that I'm going to pay that supervisor whether if I'm cleaning an extra home or not. So using that logic, it would go down in the indirect as a fixed cost, and normally it is. Typically your supervisors get the same number of hours each week within bounds of reasonability, regardless of how busy you are. But flip side, oftentimes, or in many cases, a field supervisor spends part of their day, part of their week actually working in homes, helping teams, and contributing towards generating revenue. So you can go either way on that. And I've seen it done both ways, and I don't think it really matters a ton one way or another. Just whatever way you pick, stick with it.
And I know you guys are used to hearing us say that. So pick a way, be consistent, and keep it clear what you're doing, because you can figure out any of your numbers. Tom is a huge big, he really beat this into my head over the years, and I love it. I think it's hugely valuable. Data. Get the data. If you're collecting data, the more you have, the more power you have to do stuff. Power is not the right word, but how do you always say it, Tom, about the data?
Well, power is not a bad thing. I mean, you've got more insight. You're gonna be able to. It's being able to see. It's being able to see things in your business. You want to get to the point where you can look at numbers. You want to get to the point where you can look at something like a P&L or look at some of the KPI reports that we talk about. And rather than just looking at a bunch of numbers, you can see activities in your business that are contributing to those numbers and making those numbers are what they are. And once you're able to start seeing that, then you know where to go within your business to make those numbers move. There's not a number on any KPI report or any, financial statement or anything else. There might be a couple, but by far the largest number of any number you could be dealing with, you want it to go in one direction or another. You want it to either become higher or you want it to become lower. If it's income, you want it to be higher. That's a green number. If it's an expense, you'd like to see that go lower. That's a red number.
And on your P&L is broken up that way. So that's super helpful as well. Once you start getting used to seeing, for those of you that are not number oriented, you're probably more word oriented. It usually goes that way. People are either more skewed toward understanding numbers really easily or words really easily. Some people obviously do both and some don't do either, but most of the time it's one or the other. So for those of you that don't find numbers to be super, super easy, like you have to work harder at them, you can think of it this way. It's like when you were first learning how to read, and each letter, you had to pick out each letter and how does that one sound again? Oh, yeah. Here, it sounds like A sounds like, what is it again? Oh, yeah, ah. Oh, yeah, okay. So H-A-T. You had to really sound it out. But now you can just glance at the word hat. You don't even have to anything. And not only does the word automatically pop into your head, an image of a hat pops into your head and a whole thing pops into your head. And that's how it is when you get really comfortable with your KPIs or with your numbers in general, your P&L. I'm going to talk about your P&L. You start looking at those numbers and they just automatically pop out with meaning. They don't you don't have to think so hard. Okay, what is that word? What does that number mean again? What is that? Why is it there? What is it? Any of that? It just, you look at it when Tom, because it's more like this for me since working with Tom, because we've had to look at the numbers all the time. That when I just see the number, instantly I just like, that number has meaning for me. I'm sure every single number on the P&L does that for you, Tom. Just you see the number, it's like, nope, too big, nope, too small. But for most of us, we look at that number, it's like, first, what does that number even mean? Is that a green number or a red number? Yeah. Like, I don't even remember. I have to think really hard. Is that one supposed to go up? Okay, wait, income. Like, you make really easy things hard. It's like, it's income. Is that the same thing as revenue? I don't remember. How does that work again? Are those the same numbers? Like, really? So that's why we keep going over everything, you guys, and trying to make it simpler and bringing all of the little pieces to light so that you create a picture when you start thinking of these things. Now, what I am going to point out is we're talking about reducing training expenses as to control the LDPR number, which is a direct number, right? So training expenses in our world go into direct labor because of that's what we're doing right now. We're controlling that LDPR, right? That's what we're looking at. So for us, reducing training expenses is part of the LDPR, and this is how to control that number, how to get that number to go down. So Danit, if you're putting it in indirect, means that this piece of what we're talking about right now isn't going to be impacting, in your mind, not going to be impacting that direct payroll number. Is that making sense for everybody? How all of these things play together? Hope so. So a lot of conversation. Here we are back again, Tom, almost 2:30 and just getting started on the next.
But we were talking about ads, and we're talking about price, and price being what you're paying for the ad. What would you want to say about price?
Well, I just wanted to point out that we're always talking about keep the ads running, keep recruiting all the time. You always want to be keeping your name in front of everybody, but do pay attention to the price. So if you're paying for your Indeed ads, that might not be the place that you are constantly recruiting.
We have a process in Castle Keepers, and Liz actually developed this and introduced this to Castle Keepers, where from a recruiting standpoint and a labor needs standpoint and needing to hire people standpoint, we're either in a green status, a yellow status, or a red status. And green status would be that we're comfortable and we have the level of people that we need today, and based on forecast demand and the stability of our incumbent workforce, we're not really going to be hiring anybody at the moment. So the amount of money that we would be investing in ads and interviewing and all of that would be more modest. We're not going to stop. We always want to keep the machine running. On the other end of the spectrum, we needed people yesterday. We've got jobs that we're rolling that we can't even clean today. And there's no limit to the amount of money that we would spend at that point. There is, but we're willing to invest a whole lot more on ads and the whole recruiting exercise, because we need people yesterday.
Yeah. So that's the important price there, is just knowing how much those ads cost, because you want to get a return on that investment, that price there. And sometimes, like Tom said, sometimes you're in the green, sometimes you're in the red. And when you're in the red, poof, you're willing to pay the money. All right, go ahead, Tom. I love that you're going to go to salary.
And we might debate on this a little bit, because there's different perspectives and different ways of looking at this. Do you even put pay in your ad? Is there an argument where you would not want to?
So part of what I'm going to say here is going to sound like I'm trying to wiggle out of some of these answers. I'm not really trying to wiggle out. It's just I work with businesses all over the country, and what I can tell you is that it depends on where you are and your labor market, because in some areas of the country, it might make sense to not put a salary in there, that you have better luck with your ads when you don't. What I can tell you is where I am over here on the West Coast, we have to put money in our ads. When we have tried to put out ads with no money, no salary at all, we don't get a response. We get no response, none. So we have to put something in there. But we have changed how we put the salary in there too, many times. We haven't found something that works like consistently. When something's not working, we start changing it up. We start maybe putting it in. This is what we're doing now that seems to be working. We put the pay per hour in one part, and then we put, when we put the pay per hour lower down. So up at the top, we put the pay per week. And then lower down in the ad, we say the pay per hour. And then lower down in the ad, we do the pay per year, like the salary amount. And that seems to be working a little bit better. But would I say everybody should do that? I would not.
Right.
Like, I don't have the answer for what works. Do you know what tends to work best over there, maybe in Charleston or Atlanta or someplace, Tom?
There's a couple of things. We break it. We typically have the best luck when we break it out on a per hour basis. There's several things to say about that. We do what we often call as commission pay. Never put the word commission in your ad, because most people read that and they read that as like a sales job. Like, I'm not going to make any money unless I sell something. And you lose a lot of people right out of the beginning. So don't say commission, say something like performance, incentive program, something like performance, additional performance pay, but hourly it goes from some dollar amount and
like the range or starting hourly or something.
Yes. And with the starting wages, the training wage is something that we've played around with quite a bit as well. And the whole.
Sorry, I got a medical alert. My mother-in-law, Tom.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mom.
And if you're of a mindset where you are trying to, keep your loaded payroll to revenue as low as you can, you're going to be, you don't want to pay anybody any more than you really have to in order to hire the quality of person you want. So one of the things you're going to be tempted to do is lowball it on training pay. And you can actually, at least our experience, have a starting training pay that is too low, that you might be able to find candidates, but they aren't really awesome candidates, and they might not stay very long. They might not work out, and you might not have the quantity of candidates you need in order to find the quality hires that you're looking for. We've actually been able to lower our payroll to revenue in some cases by paying higher salaries, because the higher salaries gave us the ability to attract a different candidate that more closely reflected the things that we were looking for here in terms of who to recruit. And the additional, wages over the course of the week that you were paying that individual offset, that was less than the additional training pay that you were going through and recruiting pay and everything else, dealing with turnover and lack of performance because you couldn't staff the level of people that you needed.
Awesome. Anybody have any different realities in their area? Anything that does work, doesn't work, or is it different when you pay by the hour? I know over here on the West Coast, we have run into some problems because the minimum wage expectation is that $15 an hour is like a bad wage. So if you're only paying maybe $15.50 or something like that, a little bit above minimum wage to get them started or to train, the impression right out of the gate before they even know anything is bad wage. It's the first thought.
Keep in mind that what we really are doing is lowering this loaded direct payroll to revenue. So there's situations that the loaded direct payroll is going to go up. It's safe to say that salaries are going to go up. Yeah. Are we, 4 years from now, is there going to be a minimum wage across, a federal minimum wage greater than $7.25? I think the odds are pretty doggone good. Yes, probably. That's probably going to be starting here as soon as the COVID vaccine gets out a little more, more widely distributed. So if that number goes up, you can still get your loaded payroll to revenue down. How? Make these green numbers go up, right?
Yep.
So I guess what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is sometimes you can fix your recruiting problem, and part of it is actually in your ads where you're saying that you are paying, a competitive wage. You're paying maybe more than some of your competitors, and you're going to make it up, this is where knowing your numbers helps, because the other part of this is there's a concept called a reversible decision. This isn't like you're signing a 20-year contract where you're going to raise your rate and your wage, what you're paying, and you're stuck with it forever. You're gonna have a hard time taking it away. You're not really going to want to take it away from the person you give it to. But if it's not working for you, if the numbers bear out that economically you really aren't, it's not helping you be more profitable. It's not helping you reduce your turnover. It's not, at the end of the day, lowering your direct payroll to revenue number. Then you can always go back to pay less to the next person you hire, right?
Right.
So you need to experiment. If you're not getting the results that you're looking for, and I've seen companies do this, I've gotten stuck in this hole, and I've done it for too long. Months go by, and it's like, we just can't hire enough people. Well, I'm doing the same doggone thing as I was 6 months ago, and you can change your ads, and you can do all kinds of fancy stuff and figure out new places to run ads. But at the end of the day, sometimes you're left with some tougher choices. Maybe I really need to rebuild my training program and be much more robust with it, and how I onboard, and how do I make this a more awesome job for more people to do it? And part of that, sometimes just flat out, we have to pay more.
And if you haven't raised your pay in a while, that's a good place to look. That's what I would say also. Also, when there's a pandemic going on and money is funky all over the place, you might have to raise your rates too. Not just a pandemic, but when there's big upheaval in your market around pay, chances are good you're going to have to pay more in some way, shape, or form. So what do we got here? Provide an hourly rate range to show growth at the company. I like that, Robin. I like to show that there are growth opportunities at the company, ways to make more money. I do like that. It doesn't matter to everybody, but it does matter to a lot of people. So I like that a lot. Kelly,
to some degree, I would say that it matters to most. And would you say that most people, even though it might not be top of mind, at some level, would aspire to growth. They want to know that there's recognition and rewards for good performance, and they have an opportunity to move up in the organization.
The reason why I would say it's not as important in our job is a lot of people come to our job with the idea that they're not going to be here for long. So they're not of the mindset that I'm going to make this a career, so I need there to be a lot of opportunities for growth in this field, because this is a transition field for me. A lot of people come here in that way until I get a better job. And ideally, you're going to get them in there and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is such a better job than I thought it was. And they're going to want to stay. But when they're looking at the ad, a lot of the people that look at our ads are not thinking, I'm looking for a career where I can have great opportunity for growth. That's all I was saying there. Not that I don't like it, because I do. But it wouldn't be something I'd want to hang my hat on.
Linda's suggesting the words percent pay with an earning range of 15 to 18.
How's that work, Linda? Does it work out well? Or is it something that you've changed recently, come up with? Tell us a little bit more about that. I'd like to hear more about it. I think that if you put something like percent pay in there, that it makes sense to put the earnings range of 15 to 18, because a lot of people have to think about what is percent pay. They're not sure what it means. So as soon as you put the 15 to 18, they're like, oh, okay, well, I don't really care what it means. If it's 15 to 18 bucks an hour, okay, that I could work for that. Or no, I'm not going to work for that, whatever. So I like the combination of percent pay and the average pay per hour. I like that a lot. But how does it work? Curious.
Starting off with the starting, like your starting wage, often we found that to be useful if you can make that an attractive number. And we've done a lot of different things with trying to present commission or trying to present commission pay. And anytime you start talking about percentages, there's a segment of the candidate field that kind of gets lost on that. It's like, they're just dollars per hour makes more sense to them. So we might say something like, and after training, there you have an opportunity to earn incentive bonuses where your hourly, pay can be from bing to bing. And
same thing like Linda's doing, trying to put out that number that people know how to understand. They know what that means.
Incentive bonus, though, is maybe from a marketing standpoint a little more attractive. It's not as scary. It's like, I don't need a calculator to do it. I mean, in reality, you might, but in the ad, you just want to attract people to come talk to you, right?
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to get more people in the funnel.
I still think if you're going to use a term like incentive bonus or something like that, you still need to get some numbers out there, like 15 to 18.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You need numbers.
Because people they're like, so what is that? Now just move on to something I know.
Commission typically has proven to be work against us.
Yeah.
And anytime you start getting into the arithmetic part of this, percentages and mentioning the word percentage scares some people. Yeah. Where bonus is like, everybody likes a bonus, right? You close your eyes and you see a box with a ribbon on it. It's a
yeah. When you hear bonus, you think additional, extra, more. You don't think instead of, which is what happens with commission. When people hear commission, they're like, I'm going to get this instead of regular pay. No, I don't think so.
There's some basic, just, best practices when you're, building an ad. And I'm going to drop a link to a couple of articles here, but you can just Google this, how to build an awesome help wanted ad. And you can find, a lot of blog posts that are useful, but some tips, again, it's a marketing piece. So you want to make sure you're setting the right expectations, but at the same time, you're still selling at this point. You're not hiring anybody. You just want to have the opportunity to talk to them to see if you do want to hire them.
Yeah. And to attract the people to your company that are the kind of people that you want to hire, so that you're not weeding through 5,000 applications of people that you would never hire in a million years. So I love this, Tom. This is great. It tells you all the basics to put in your ad. Use a killer job title. Ooh, that's great. That's nice. Add an emotive introduction. So that's something that Leslie showed us yesterday, right? She gave us an example of that. How to make people feel something. That's all that means. An emotive introduction just means make them feel like it's a job for them.
It's like selling, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's an emotional decision when people buy.
Yep, absolutely. Same thing, Leslie showed us an example yesterday. Tell your company story. Tell something about your company. And here we go. Really sell the position. So like on here, it says, rather than the typical laundry list of bullet points, only include requirements that are essential to this job. So one of the things I do that has worked really well is I have that typical laundry list of bullet points, but they're all amazing, great things about the company. So that just sort of makes the people go, what? So what's going on here? They're expecting it to say things like, you must have this, you must do this, you must, you can't work here if you don't have these great attributes. And instead it says, hey, all the hours you want, as much time off as you want, weekly bonuses, it says all the great stuff about the company that people are like, oh, wow, this is different. Okay. And it makes them pay attention again. So selling the position, saying what's great about the position. Push your location. That's interesting, Tom.
Well, this is the context if somebody's having to relocate. Don't live in your region, but that probably doesn't. Although it might, depending on where your office is located. Kind of a pro tip here. We've set up offices in various parts of the country, and who've done it, in even in the same markets. We've moved around from time to time. And one of the things that I always look for, there's a list of criteria for our business model. We need lots of parking. We need a shop area. We typically, want to be able to do laundry, stuff like that. But geographic location, first thing that we look for is where are the temporary labor offices located, because they're really good at figuring out where the labor is. And if you put your office there, that could be a selling point because it's more convenient. Somebody doesn't want to have to drive for a long period of time just to get to the office so they can go clean a bunch of homes. If you've got a model where, people are showing up to the office every day, if you can locate your office where the labor is, that's a competitive advantage, and you want to sell that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to have your location be where your employees are, not where your clients are.
You can drive to your client.
There's a difference there. And then also, I think another way that this might work, this push your location thing, is if they don't have to come to an office, right? That might be really nice for people too. Work directly out of your home or something like that. If that's the case, that could be attractive.
More and more, that's becoming you start seeing more and more of that. And I think you're going to be seeing more and more of that in the future.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Well, mostly because you've hammered it into my head. I'm like, oh yeah, I see he's right about that. And we're seeing it play out exactly like you said. Okay, let's see. Spell out the application process. When they get hired, candidates will be loved and what happens next. Yeah, okay, I see that too. Got to be careful where you put this in the ad. Don't make it too scary. Don't make it too hard for people, especially if you have a lot of steps. I know that some people really like to have an application process that jumps people through a lot of hoops. So if you have that type of an application process, you might not want to spell out all the hoops early on in the ad because it could scare people off, especially if you're in a position where you need to hire more quickly or more people or more frequently, any of those types of things. If you need a larger pool, I would say be careful about that.
If you think of it as a sales funnel, and if there's a lot of steps in the sales funnel, you probably wouldn't want to spell all of it out.
Yeah.
But you would want to at least talk about the first, step to get in the funnel. And ideally, that's what they would say it's a frictionless, activity. You want to reduce the friction. You want to make it easy for people to at least, get into the funnel. If they meet your basic requirements, you can figure out further in the process if they're going to be a candidate or not. But you don't want to be losing, potentially, great employees because, they can't even, it's too hard to get in the funnel.
Yeah, it's like, you're making it so difficult. If they need to go somewhere else, give them a link if you can, but make it as simple as possible, at least in the beginning stages before they've decided they actually really want to work for you. A lot of times in the beginning, they still don't know if they want to work for you. They still don't have any idea if this is a good fit for them at all. So you don't want to make it too hard. You also don't want to make it so easy that every person goes through your whole entire system and then just never shows up for that first day. So I was talking with somebody recently that has that situation. They make it so easy that everybody says, yes, okay, yes, I'll be there. And then they're expecting 10 people to show up and nobody shows. So you don't want to have that happen either. What you got here? What you got highlighted here, Tom?
Improve your email response. I mean, you're still selling. This whole process is a sales process. And, even if, just like what you said, Liz, just because somebody submits an application, that doesn't mean they've bought yet. They're not a long-term successful employee yet. They're just in a funnel. So your response to them, a lot of times, they didn't. How many times you hear, I just can't get people to come in for an interview. They'll application. I'll talk to them on the phone, and they fall out of the funnel. They don't go to the next step. Whatever that next step might be. Well, maybe we just didn't, give them a compelling enough reason to stick in, the funnel. And if we're kind of lackadaisical and kind of treating it like, you're working here as an entitlement and you should feel fortunate that we're talking to you, then, you need to flip that around. And even, or your follow-up communications, do you even have follow-up communications? And what are they? And are you emphasizing your culture and your core values and why this is an awesome place to work? And we're excited that, we're going down this process so we can decide if you're going to be, an awesome team member of our company.
Also, I got another pro tip for you here. Have your last communication to them that's part of your process be a requirement from them. So even hopefully something simple, but have it be a requirement that is something like, so if you're interested, I'd love to be able to offer you the job, love to be able to see you tomorrow, have tomorrow be your first day, but make them do something like, if you're interested, please let me know if you can be to work by 7:30 in the morning. Text me at this number, or respond to this email by 5 p.m. Or tell me what great quality you have that makes you perfect for this job. Make them do the last thing. Because if they don't do the last thing, they're not showing up for work tomorrow. So a lot of times people they're doing the last thing. Okay, great. See you tomorrow. Here's all the information. Here's what we're going to have ready for you, blah, blah, blah. Nobody shows up. Oh, what a waste of time.
Is it, like Tricia Lake will have them actually write a paper explaining why they want to work there. Yeah,
why they think that they should be hired, why they're going to be a great employee. So, or I think she says why they like her company, maybe, right? Is she the one that says, tell me what you like about our company and what you want?
It's like a school assignment.
Yeah. And if they don't write it, they don't come in. But you could just do something really simple where you have them do the last thing. If they don't do it, they're not showing tomorrow. So you don't waste your time, energy, expectation on them.
Here's another article that I just dropped the link in that's got some good tips in terms of, headlines are important, some basic information about the job right up the top. So, it's easy for people to see if it's something that could be a fit, requirements. Something I haven't seen in this, but we've done that can separate your ad is to use graphics. You've got a picture of some of your cleaning professionals, or just action photos of smiling people having a party, rocking it out. Graphics and pictures can go a long ways towards making your ads work for you.
Absolutely. Pictures of actual people in uniform that are representative of the people who really work for you. And going back to this culture fit again, what do those people look like can go a really long way to getting people to feel like, yes, this is a job for me. I'm like those people. I will fit in. People want to fit in at a job that they go to. So if they see people that don't like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to get models to show what the type of people are that look for your company, because if they don't look like the people that are actually going to be working at your company, they're not attracted to that job. They don't feel like they belong there. It doesn't look like people like me. You're looking for somebody different than me.
And like Liz said, the other day, people don't need to look like, they're going to be on the cover of Glamour magazine. You can use your own employees. It's best to use your own team members, but make sure they're clean, make sure they're tidy, make sure, don't just say, guess what we're doing today, guys? We're doing a photo shoot, plan it out a little bit, give people a heads up, let them kind of.
Don't have them in blue uniform shirts with bleach spots on them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, not their the oldest uniform shirt that you have out there that you can't even see the logo on it anymore, right? You want to have them looking neat and tidy and like a good representation of your company, but a real representation as well. So that also is really important. I did want to say one more thing about the wage, the salary. When you're putting that in your ad, if you're seeing that a lot of people are putting like a lot of the ads are saying, you want your ad to, remember, stand out, but you want it to stand out in a good way. So if you see a lot of people putting like that hourly wage in there, you can put a weekly wage. The bigger number will sell better, believe it or not. This is an idea that comes from the book Persuasion for anybody that likes to read. A bigger number, when everybody else has a smaller number, you know, $15 to $18 per hour, even though that's a big number, you can put in $500 to $600 a week. And it's like, wow, that big number, people have to figure that out. How much is it per week? But they will still be biased toward the larger number. So keep that in mind. And if everybody else has weekly, don't go the other way. Don't put in your lower 15 to 18 per hour thinking, yeah, but this is more than $500 a week. People won't see it that way. Even if they do the math and they figure it out, they're still biased against it in some underlying way that they might not even recognize. All right. So anything else we really want to point out about the ad, Tom? Because we are
there's a long list of stuff. And rather than going through all of that, I mean, that would be like a whole nother separate discussion. I'm just going to say best practices in creating a help wanted ad. Just Google it. And just, I gave you a couple of articles, but there's dozens of articles and they all have useful information. And a lot of them are all saying more of the same stuff than they are different stuff. There are some finer points, you know, maybe, not maybe, you know, a little bit later on down the road, we'll do a deeper dive into that. But this is definitely a lot of information to get us started.
And the biggest issue to remember is what Tom said early on. This is a sales exercise. You are selling your job. And you're also, at the same time that you're selling your job, you're trying to attract the right candidates, right? So don't forget that you're selling. Create your ad as if you're selling to a customer. Like what type of an ad would you put if you were trying to get more customers? You're trying to get more employees. Make it appealing. Make it something that people want to come work for. All right. Well, here we are, Tom, top of the hour. Shocker.
It is top of the hour.
Yeah.
So I think that we're good break point. So we'll pick up on interviewing. And this is a lot, but if you really think about turnover and how turnover, you know, can have a negative impact on your business in so many ways, like we were talking the other day, it certainly has a big impact on your loaded direct payroll to revenue, but it impacts, you know, your customer satisfaction. It impacts your attrition rate for your recurring homes. It, you know, arguably it impacts what you can charge for your service. You know, if you've got a stable workforce, you can bill more.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because your quality is going to be better. Everything's going to be better.
It's hard to do rate increases when your customers are angry because they feel they aren't getting good service.
Yeah, really hard.
Okay, Denise's going to be number one tomorrow, so I know who I'm guessing.
Thanks, Denise. I'm guessing that. I got her today. I get her tomorrow.
I chose Leslie. I don't even see Leslie here today, so I just completely missed that.
She might not have just posted too.
That's
oh gosh, Bridget and Denise are there like in a contest now. Now we're gonna have to figure out. I might have to take Bridget. You can have Denise. No.
Okay. Well, you guys take care. We'll be back here tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern.
Interview tomorrow, y'all.